It's September 25th, 2021. I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Really confusing for me. There was a movie that was just that Linda just put on. She says the title of it is Worth, W-O-R-T-H. She said Michael Keaton is the leading actor. For me, that's interesting. I'm Catwoman. He was the original, for me anyway, Batman, the first one that played in my life frame in like a I don't know if they all, I call them Hollywood when they're in their kind of movies where they're based on real life. They're just not their real life. But even that, within TV land and production and directorship and executives and whatnot, that gets confusing in a different set of circumstances. So whatever law firm he works in, right now it's the year 2021 for me, when I just stumbled upon, isn't that serendipity? Like you just stumble upon something that happens to universally be tied in to whatever else you're working on. For me, it's just documenting my slow, arduous, painful death, being stuck in this dead end. So I was pigeonholed or typecast into nothing. I just like a survival, like let's have her raped, let's have her bear the burden of 4 children, and then let's just all sit there and do absolutely fucking nothing while the whole world falls apart. And she has no way how to keep herself safe, clothed, housed, or to take care of the kids. And how to keep herself from being poisoned, raped even further, kidnapped, and so on in the United States of America. Because they're just such honorable fucking people. So now, especially in the state of New York, let's be fucking clear. So now, fabric of space and time is totally woven all wrong. It's illuminated, like loomed through in such a disgusting discourse. It's actually painful to be human at the same time as whatever the hell is conducting itself elsewhere. So now, this movie, Worth, that Michael Keaton is in, is based on one of my life frames. I had a crossover event with something in Nassau County. I think it was Nassau County, maybe it was Suffolk County. It gets hard to tell. Not sure. I think it was out closer to Melville, which is Suffolk, because there's a problem on Long Island between the courthouses in Nassau County, which are ethnically not my kindred, and they see everyone that's my color or my lineage or my genealogy as the enemy. And they have set up some kind of stronghold establishment in the closer part of Nassau, closest to Manhattan, and closest to Queens. They already set up a stronghold before I arrived. And it's only grown obnoxiously worse the longer it goes on. But out in Suffolk, they have more per capita, or they did, of my kind of, sort of, but not really, ancestry. And their court system is run by, I don't know what. Again, I don't know how Nassau is being run either, but I was informed accidentally by someone when I was working at BAUER in Suffolk. They had me transfer in for one day to the Nassau and Roosevelt Field one, and she was the one who was like really like nasty and like assertive and aggressive, and I'm like, I'm just a worker. Like, you're the manager. Why are you being, like, I just feel like you're coming at me like I did something wrong. you're the one who's supposed to set our relationship in space, since you're the one who manages this Nassau location for Eddie Bauer, and my manager out in Suffolk County does not treat me or behave anything like what you're pushing up on me with. So now, that happened. Perhaps not those exact words, but it's really close in soliloquy and monologue. So now, I'm out in Suffolk County, and the scene of the office looks awfully familiar to one of the offices, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I've been in so many law offices, but I mean, like, the way my independent contractor agreement goes with the real estate brokerage is, I go out and I canvass a neighborhood, or I used to go just door to door and knock, and I try to rely on the kindness of strangers for referrals for people who are looking to buy or sell, to get an interview with a homeowner to sell a house. The homeowner picks their own law firm. It's whomever they're comfortable with. I mean, I used to have, if they didn't have a law firm, they said to cover myself at real estate school, just pick 3. And whatever ones somebody else recommended, take those 3 and just keep referring those out, and then let the homeowner interview and pick one. Okay, so they did. Same thing with mortgage reps. Because, I mean, I've never went through a process with any of these people, so, like, I don't really know. So, and I couldn't even counsel you. I mean, ask the lawyers. What I usually say, they're the professional. I mean, I'm a professional of, like, tour guide to, like, which houses would you like to see? Let's go take a look at those and discover them together. And then, I mean, that's really what a real estate job was. And then there was some form of coordination, and then show up at the lawyer's office for a check, bring that check, which is not made out to me, back to the brokerage, and then I had to wait for them to go through their rigmarole and cut me a check. I mean, so was I really friendly and cushy with lawyers in Long Island? No. Do I know what they went through for schooling, family, social clubs? What? No. Do I know what their law school education encompassed? No. It was sitting in a room. There's a title closer in there, and then a whole lot of people in suits. Are they all real estate based? I have no idea. I mean, they give you a card, it says attorney. So, I mean, I give them a card, it says real estate agent. It was a 45-hour class, and then I'm like a tour guide for like whatever, and like booking agent for whatever the people want to see that's buying a house. That's it. Like, it's not really very exciting, but I gotta feed my kids somehow. And in fact, it's a lot of fucking work for not a lot of money. So now I went into one office that looked like this guy, and now I'm listening to the Michael Keaton version of this movie, Worth. And it's something to do with 9/11, and then something to do with a commission after the 9/11. He's doing something pro bono. He's got some kind of special mastery. I have no idea what any of that means in the larger schematic. It does interest me of, I do not know if his 2 law school people, if it's exactly like his, if I don't know his special mastery, if his part was drawn just like the movie, to tell the exact truth. I don't know, because I wasn't part of the special 9/11 commission or pro bono anything. They shoved me out to Long Island into a tunnel dead end to nowhere, meeting a whole lot of lawyers. But I mean, I met some guy named Joe Juergens. I met some guy named Rick Cohen. There was Craig Augie. Those were the three that I recommended for a while. Then there was Chris Delisle and Christopher Garcia. I recommended them for a while. But again, like, I mean, were we hanging out and getting to know one another? No. I didn't realize that, like, that was so important. I mean, so now, sitting in the law offices, it's just, I mean, I can see, it looks like any other, it looks like the Merrill Lynch office. There's cubicles, there's people, there's the standard construction of office park buildings, and that's it. I mean, not much to witness, not much to see, and the law is like, I mean, I've seen in other movies, like, law, the word, LAW, is like a living science mixed in with philosophy. Like, there's like a whole interwoven, beautiful dance of like higher process thought and order and like schematic of going from nano to micro to macro and then back again and make sure you have all avenues covered. And like, it's an exciting, like, strategical, like, mental, like, Rubik's Cube and putting it together. Almost like I talk about with the Roosevelt, but that's something totally different. That's fabric, space, and time. But then there's, like, the other law that I see, like the Judge Judy law of, like, your dog bit my cat and I want to sue you for $50,000 because I don't like dogs. That's what I think of humans. I think it is the dumbest, most useless process ever to let them speak and be in a court of law to argue over, like, veterinary bills and stupid shit. I mean, waste of process and time. But this is how this disgusting Long Island is set up in New York and Queens. So now I avoid being part of the clogging of the arteries of justice, social and otherwise. I mean, I went to a closing room to help whomever was moving onto or off of Long Island complete their transaction, but just as their witness. But if you ask me of any of my clients, I couldn't tell you. I could tell you one, because I wound up getting to know him after the transaction, which is Warren Thompson. Other than that, I don't have a Rolodex of names of people that I sold houses to. I had an assistant that for the most part processed all the stuff and got used to the file names and whatnot. I mean, the files, I used to have to have a spreadsheet because I couldn't, short-term memory, they weren't logged into my life forever. They were short-term transactions. So it was their address. I have a better chance of remembering someone's address, like 222, like 220 something Munsell Road in East Padjock. Like, that one stuck out. I think those were the Edwards. But I have to go through the address in order to get to some kind of memory of the human. That's how wasteful my entire process has been. I sold some really, really handsome gentleman a house in Park Avenue, Big Blue House. Never spoke to him after that. I represented the seller, Zhao. But that's all I remember about him. Then there was somebody else I was doing a engineer's inspection with, and I had to bring Alexander with me that day. They wound up not buying the house because something happened with the inspection, but Alexander was there the entire time, and I try to keep him between, like, quiet. But whoever it was that got to see Alexander in an empty house, like, quiet and just being himself, and the interaction between me and him, I can't remember who that person was, but that was a nice that left me with a nice sentiment of memory. I just can't remember the person's face or name that was there. I just know the interaction was on a nice, even keel, and then got to see Alexander in real true moving motion with me when he was extremely young. That's really it. But this movie's sparking a thing because it's like there's special mastery with some kind of commission. And at the beginning he says, what's life worth? And he goes, there is a calculation in some philosophical class about the word life. He said, but that's the job. All right. Now what? I'm still lost in time and space and the fabric that's not woven so well, and the taut, which are not tight, and it is painful. I'm withstanding high radio wave microwave frequency. I look like a popped kernel of corn into a kernel to a popped corn. I'm still existing, but it is not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. And I really don't see what else is going on elsewhere. I mean, it's really annoying to be kept this shallow of a depth, while others are like crack addicts on some social network that have access to information through entertainment industry and travel industry and all sorts of bullshit that they shouldn't be doing anyway. But we're developed and now are a huge problem and a burden of people like myself who don't even want to be here and have other things that we were born for and built for. See, there's a difference between being built into. It's like being ingested into this like fabric of space and time. I was ingested by the fabric of space and time. I am not supposed to be out walking amongst the morons that are fighting over timeshares in like Cabo St. Lucas. Big difference. But yet I'm being treated like a criminal of everywhere, which I am not. I'm trying to avoid the criminals of everything and everywhere. But I don't have very many options because everywhere I go, there's a criminal. And it kind of limits one's options of being able to maintain and sustain, marked as something extraordinarily special. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken.